I'm going to show you how to overhaul the headset on a bike with a fork that has a threadless type steer tube. Right now as I turn the handlebars back and forth, I can feel it feels very rough. It feels like the bearings are like out of round, or possibly there's damage to the races. Anyway, I'm going to have to open this up and see what's up in there. Okay, because I'm going to be dropping the forks down, I'm going to want to go ahead and either disconnect the brake cable or just go ahead and cut it. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut it because I'm going to go ahead and replace it. So just go ahead and cut that. Next, go ahead and remove this little cap here. Let's see, little Allen bolt here. This threadless stem is unusual. More often what you'll find is there'll be two bolts right in the back here that clamp down the stem onto the threadless steer tube. This seems to have, there's like a little cover here, and then there's one bolt inside here that clamps down. So I'm going to go ahead and loosen that. There, like that. Now I'm not that concerned about this spacer here because I easily go ahead and replace the spacer. So I'm going to go ahead and get some vice grips onto here, hold that, and try to get this freed from the steer tube. There we go. Get this up. And slide this up like here. Okay, now down here there's a compression ring that goes down there. It's compressed down in there. It's like a wedge. So what I need to do is get that out of there, get that loose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a wooden mallet, tap down on the steer tube, get it to slide down in there. Then if I can tap it back up, I can get that little compression ring loose out of there. So I got a nice big wooden mallet here. So I'm going to pound down on this and try to get it loose. And I think the bearings down there might possibly be rusted to the steer tube, but we'll see. Okay. And if I can get that loose down there. Okay, get this up. And there's the compression ring. I pull this out, slide this off, and then slide this down. And so now I've got the fork tube out. Then I can pull the bearings out of here. And then there's two rings of bearings in there. These look pretty well dried up. These ones still look lubricated. So I'll go ahead and replace these. Let's take a rag, wipe down the races, and take a look to see if there's any damage to them, or if they look smooth. And this one looks good. Here's the bottom race. Let me go ahead and clean it up with a little bit of WD-40. Get this, and then look at it. And it looks pretty smooth. Okay, now I want to check out these other races here. This is the one from the little cap here. So I'm going to spray this a little bit WD-40 down here. Clean this one up. Check for any obvious damage to the race. And it looks smooth. And then I have the crown race down here. So let me go ahead and clean this one up. That one looks like it may have some damage, so I'm going to probably want to replace this crown race because I can see like little bumps around there. And then the bearings are definitely going to be replaced. Now if there's damage to the cups or the crown race, you'll want to replace them. Your best bet is go ahead and take them into your local bike shop and allow them to go ahead and replace the cups or the crown race, because the tools that you're going to need to do them are kind of expensive, and you're probably not going to need to use them a whole lot. And if you have everything all prepared, they'll probably just charge you a very nominal fee, or maybe not even anything if you're buying the parts there. But I'm going to go ahead and replace the crown race, and I'll show you how that's done. Okay, I've got my crown race puller here. This Park Tools CRP2. This is kind of expensive tool, so you're probably not just going to have it in your home shop. It's got like little blades that reach in and grab underneath the crown race here, and it's got a lever here that will push down the fork and push off the crown race, or pull it off. There. And there's the crown race. Now I need to press the new crown race on. So I'll go ahead and I'll slide this over there. And using a tool from Park Tool, I've got a crown race setter. Slide this over there. Then just with a hammer. And the new crown race is on, ready to go. Well, I'm ready to start putting this thing back together. It took me a while to get the bearings that I needed to replace the old ones. So I'm going to start off, this is the bottom cup, and I'm going to go ahead and fill it with some grease. I just have some generic automotive type grease. And I just want to go ahead and put grease around the bearing race. Like that. And then here's one of the new bearings. So I'm going to go ahead and just try to get grease worked into the cage and into the bearings. Like that. And then lay the bearings into the race. You want the flat side of the cage facing out, and then just kind of push them in there, and the grease will hold them in there. Here's the top race. I'll go ahead and fill this also with grease. Just run around there. And again, take the new bearing and just try to get grease worked into the cage and the bearings. Like that. And then again, lay the bearing cage in there with the flat side of the cage facing out. Like that. Okay, I want to place, there's a seal that goes down around the crown race there, which in this case is an O-ring. The old crown race had like a little plastic seal there, but this one has an O-ring, so I'll put that down in place. Now I want to cover the steel steerer tube here with a very thin coating of grease. This will help keep it from rusting, and also when it's in contact with the aluminum steerer, or the aluminum stem and the spacers, it will help prevent galvanic corrosion, in which case the stem and the spacers will become just rusted to the steerer tube. So it just needs to be a very thin coating, just to give some sort of insulation between the parts. Okay, so now I'll go ahead and take the fork, insert it up through the headset, And the bearings are already in there. Let's work its way up like that. And then I'll take the little top part here that goes on there and just insert it down on like that. And that has the top little cone in there for the bearings. And I've got this little plastic wedge that came out of there, so that'll go on there like that. Now I'm going to install the spacers down onto the steerer tube there. I got some new spacers, a little bit nicer looking than the ones that were on there, or the one that was on there. Okay, now I'm ready to mount the handlebars onto the steerer. So I got the stem here, just slide that on there. Then I can go ahead and take this little top cap and screw this onto here, like this. And this is what you're going to use to adjust how tight the bearings are. So kind of tighten this down and then move it back and forth and kind of get a feel for how tight it is. What you want to do is have it tight enough that there's no play in there, but not so tight that they bind. And so you can just kind of adjust that and get it so that it's moving smoothly, but that you don't have play in there. When you get that adjusted just right, and you can always adjust a little bit later on, tighten the stem down, a little clamp bolt on there, like that. Now remount the wheel, reconnect the brakes, and you're done. And that is how you overhaul the headset with a threadless fork. I hope that helps.